Okay then, let's get started. Today we are using a 10-inch circle for our substrate. The first thing to do was to give it a coat of white gesso. I have a lovely brick stencil in my stash, which doesn't get enough use. I used rich texture paste through the stencil. If you are going to do this, make sure that you use an open stencil. By open, I mean one with lots of open space. Please ensure that you clean your stencil as soon as you've finished with it, or you'll never get it clean again. I then left it to dry naturally overnight. I then started to plan out some of the elements, starting with the biggest first and using the smaller ones to fill in the gaps. I then decided to just go for it and started sticking them down using heavy body gel. I decided that I wanted the branch to sit under the frame, so I pulled the frame off, which is the great thing about the heavy body gel, it's still wet, so I was able to stick the leaf branch down first and then replace the frame over the top. I just had a bit of a tidy up and cleared away any excess glue. I left it overnight to dry to ensure all of the elements were totally stuck. Next I used white gesso. I gave all the elements a coat of white gesso and also painted the white space too, to ensure that it was white, as I'm sure that I splashed it when I was stenciling. I switched to a smaller brush to get into the smaller spaces. Once dry, I moved on to the paints. I started off with purple and ink black from the Finnabair Fluid acrylic range. I wanted to know how dark the purple was on the white without anything added to it. I wanted a really, really dark purple, so I added ink black to the purple and started further round. The further round I got, I started to get lighter with the color. Ensure you dry between coats and colors. I wanted the purple at the start even darker, so I added the blackberry metallic paint over the top of the purple and black mix. Again I thoroughly dried it. added lots of water to this side as I wanted it a very light purple. Once I was happy with the ombre of color, I used white gesso. I wanted to dry brush over a section of the project, so I loaded the brush with white gesso, and then removed most of it off on a paper towel. Again, as I had the white out, I just went over the open space again. My next color choice was emerald green. Make sure you dry well between colors. My next green was avocado. I kept going with the colors until I was happy with the contrast of the green and the purple and also the dark to light. I don't use rubbons very often, and I've had this Prima redesign script set for a while now. I cut a piece off, roughly the size that I wanted to use. I cut a V out of the top so it would slide into place on the white space. Then I used the lolly stick to rub it off the plastic and onto the wooden base. You just have to be a bit patient and make sure that you rub it all off and don't rip it. Using the leftover paint, I colored a large skull and a label tab. I wanted them a bit lighter so that they would stand out. I then covered up the script using the piece of plastic that it was originally protected by, as I wanted to add some splatters. Instead of using white gesso, I decided to use white chalk paint as I wanted the splatters to be vibrant. I approached it slowly so that I had more control over the splatters. I wanted something to put in the holes for the eye sockets on the skull, and I found some large iridescent half pearls, which fitted perfectly. I used my demo machine to type a title and glued it to the label tab. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and leave me a comment if you enjoyed this process.